Good evening, everyone. I'm Susie Garrow.
And I'm Bill Griffith in tonight for Tyler Mathisen. We begin with this huge news from Apple, which just released its fiscal second quarter earnings, announced plans to buy back an additional $30 billion of its own shares. It raised its dividend by 8%. And then the surprise, a 7-for-1 stock split, which would make shares worth about $75 apiece at today's price. Let's get to the numbers first, though. Apple easily beat Wall Street estimates by taking in $11.62 a share, with profits up 7%. Revenues also beat on blowout sales of the iPhone, but sales of iPad tablets were below forecasts. Shares were halted in late trade on Apple pending the earnings release, but when they did reopen about 45 minutes after the close, shares initially soared by about 7%. Josh Lipton joins us tonight from outside Apple headquarters in Cupertino, California, with more on Apple's news. And he also spoke to CEO Tim Cook earlier today. Josh.
Yeah, Bill, here in Cupertino, California, I did get the chance to speak to CEO Tim Cook this afternoon. Just to run through those numbers, Apple reporting certainly pleasing investors, 43.7 million iPhones. That was more than the street was looking for. And Tim Cook telling me it was really broad-based strength there. It was good sales of 5C, 5S, strong demand, he also said, from China Mobile. Tim Cook also telling me, listen, we realize we have more money than we need. So you did see this news of Apple extending its capital return program to over $130 billion, increasing the repurchase authorization to $90 billion, boosting its dividend to 8%. And as you mentioned, Bill, also this news announcing a 7-for-1 stock split. Tim Cook telling me, listen, he realizes there are a lot of retail investors out there who might want to own Apple shares. He wants Apple stock, he told me, to be as accessible as Apple products. Another issue, a lot of investors and analysts and traders certainly want to hear more about new products, what's on the way. Tim Cook telling me he was not ready to give any new clarity right now on new products or services, but he did tell me there are new products in the pipeline, products that he's very excited about. And finally, with all that cash they're sitting on, what about acquisitions? Tim Cook telling me, listen, they've done a lot of acquisitions in the past 18 months, and he's on the prowl to do more. Susie, back to you.
Thanks so much. Josh Lipton reporting from Cupertino. Joining us now to talk more about Apple is Max Wolf. He's chief economist and strategist with a venture capital firm, Citizen VC. Max, what do you think of all of this? I mean, here we've got a big stock split. You've got a big stock buyback and a dividend. Does this make Apple the darling of Wall Street again?
Thanks for having me, Susie. Always a pleasure to join you. I think it's certainly, we see here Apple making a whole lot of efforts to appeal to investors. Historically, Apple had such enormous appeal to investors that I sort of sit back and let the adoration pour in. Having had a bit of a bumpier road of late, they're starting to offer more olive branch here. I think they're buying back shares. They're splitting them to make them about $75 each. And they're giving every indication that those who waited out with them during a period where they release fewer new whiz-bang products that excite everyone, whether that's new phones or new types of tablets, will be richly rewarded by a company that continues to sell an unbelievable number of premium products and has become the must-have status symbol brand both in the U.S., a story we know, and increasingly in their new partnership with China Mobile, the absolute status brand in China, the largest and most fast-growing of the major mobile markets.
Late today, Max, Carl Icahn, the activist investor who's been on Tim Cook's case to do something about a share buyback or things like that, tweeted out that he was pleased with the results with the buyback, with the stock split, but with a gentle little prod there said he also knows he'll be happy when he sees new products from Apple, something I know you agree with, right?
Absolutely, so it's a good point. We should keep in mind, though, he was prodding for a huge buyback, and what we saw was the largest buyback in history become even bigger, so I think he's pretty happy about that. That being said, Apple has very expensive phones, unsubsidized. We're talking $750 for the basic, the 5S, about to be the 6. I think the big story for Apple is if they could sell 43 million basically miniature phones, how many full-size phones can they sell? And the good news is we're going to get a look at that with the 4.7 to 5-inch screen models that we expect to come out late in Q3 or early in Q4. So coming soon, and it couldn't be a moment sooner, possibly the sooner the better.
As you know, Max, Tim Cook of Apple is not very good about giving any kind of clues about what these whiz-bang products might be. We all know about the phone, but beyond that, what do you think that investors and consumers need to see come out of Apple to make that the success story of Apple long-term?
So I think consumers need to see Apple as a very profitable, massive company with one of the most valuable brands in the world that's trading at a pretty appealing valuation. So against many of its peers, none of whom, by the way, are as profitable in most regards, it's still at a discount. It's lower multiple to earnings, lower multiple to sales. So it's fairly reasonably priced, even if all their gadgets aren't. And I think we're going to see the full-size phone. And I think we have to see one other thing. We have to see Apple take the sort of leadership position again, possibly with mobile payments. They have a chance there because the fingerprint reader that's on the 5S phone now, their top-of-the-line cellular phone now, that's going to be on the new models as well, we think, gives them a chance to allow people to make really easy transactions the way we've gotten used to in the iTunes universe and in the App Store, but now outside of the iTunes and Apple space into the rest of our lives with the phone as fingerprint reader and validator.
All right, a lot of good things coming, hopefully. Max, thank you so much for joining us. Max Wolf with Citizen VC.
Thank you.